Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I just got back from a Shamrock pickleball. Today's St. Paddy's Day, and I am almost 3/4 Irish because my mom was half Irish and my dad was full-blood Irish. My dad's mother was Ruth Agnes Hogan. His father was William Hughes, and he was one of 11 children. And his mother died when he was about 11 years old, and his dad remarried with the other 10 children, so he was the only one from the first marriage. And I am number 11 out of 12 children, and my real name prior to marriage is Bridget Colleen Hughes. Both of my kids have Irish names, Michaela, Fiona, and Grayson Jarrett, because I'm proud of my Irish heritage. So go green, all you leprechauns out there and gingers. Hey, happy St. Paddy's Day. Today I'm going to do a very Italian thing on St. Paddy's Day. I'm going to make my daughter pizza, who's in the backyard in the sun with my dogs. You're going to probably see an epic failure while I tell a story. Here's my pizza dough, and I have Italian flour called verde, V-E-R-D-E. And you're gonna say, well, why did she use that flour? And I watched a cool video of a guy that owns a place called Una, U-N-A, in New York. It was rated #1 pizza in the world for a while. And I saw that in the background while he was mixing his dough. My investigator skills saw that he was using a bag of verde flour. So here's my dough out of the fridge. It's been sitting for about more than 24 hours. I have not done anything with it to ball it up and shape it. I got some Semola, I'm probably not pronouncing this right. I don't, Rimacinata. So Semolina Rimacinata from Italy off the internet. Apparently, if you put this in this flour, that it's not gonna stick. So when I watch the video from the guy from Una, what he does is he takes his pizza and he puts it in this Rimacinata, Semolina, and that stops it from sticking. And then he takes his fingers in the center of the pizza and he presses out to the edge, pushing the air bubbles of the fermentation out to the edge. I don't know how to make pizza other than stick it in a cast iron skillet and put it on my grill. So you could be watching a failure. So I would tell you, if you want to make a really good pizza, go to an expert, go to somebody that's a craftsman. And the gentleman that owns Pizzeria Una in New York City, he seems to, I think he's been making pizza since he was 14 years old, and he's over 50. This is my first shot. You know, they're like, put your knuckles in, spread it apart, keep the edge, and then you don't want it to stick on your peel. I didn't even know that this thing was called a peel. I said, it's that slidey thing. And I asked my husband, I said, hey, like, what's that thing called that they put in the stove? Now, if you look in my oven, I have a big metal sheet. It's supposed to be able to heat up to, I'm gonna show you what the sheet looks like. Over 1,000 degrees. It's down there. I have my stove on as high as it can go. I was thinking about doing it on the grill, but I want to see if this metal plate makes a difference and I get that bubbly, crispy crust, or I just wasted a lot of money on nothing. I have some lovely pre-made sausage sauce that I was using for spaghetti. And like I said, I don't waste anything. So what I'm gonna do is take my spaghetti sauce that has a lot of goodies in it. I know I'm off screen. And I'm gonna use my faux spoon, and I'm gonna take some of that sauce. And they say don't get it too wet or it's going to not successfully come off your peels. So we're gonna go from the middle, keeping the sauce very light. My toppings are already in there because this has all the lovely meat from the lasagna I made this week about 2 days ago. And I could have froze it, but I just like knew that with my daughter home that we would probably eat it. I took some mozzarella that I drained. This is buffalo and regular. And I'm just gonna softly sprinkle some of that on. And again, I don't wanna make it too heavy because if I do, it might not come off that peel. I cut up some red sweet peppers, which I love, and then some cherry tomatoes. And I got some fresh oregano out of my garden. And I'm just gonna put some of that fresh oregano on. And I'm gonna take some spicy red pepper. And I'm gonna put that red pepper on the pizza because who doesn't like a spicy pizza? And then I'll probably put the Parmesan at the end. So this is what my pizza looks like. And I'm gonna put it in the oven and cross my fingers that I have the Irish luck for St. Paddy's Day. And I'm gonna do a drizzle of olive oil on it. I don't know if you know this, olive oil expires, so check the date. And you should use olive oil in a glass bottle because you don't want it to go rancid. I live in California, so shop local. I'm gonna put some of that lovely oil. Now you're supposed to shake this peel and see if your pizza moves. Mine is not moving. That is not a good sign. Oh, there, maybe if I jiggle it a little bit more. I can see this might end up being a disaster. So we're gonna put some more of this flour. I'm gonna dab up this oil that I spilled around the edge. I tried to keep the crust edge clean, but I'm gonna put a bunch of this stuff underneath it because I really don't want to have a failure on this pizza, and it's supposed to jiggle around. It's not jiggling. Hold on, let me toss some more of that stuff in there. See, you know, when you watch people and these experts come on and they make stuff, they're like, oh, this is how they do it. I really don't edit more than like 10 seconds of anything. And that's sometimes to just get some of my swear words out because I'm known to use dirty words as a verb, an adjective, and a noun. I have a full array of bad words that I can say at any given moment. Okay, so I got the pizza shuffle. I think maybe if I sing, I can get it in. So I'm gonna try to put that pizza on that metal plate that you saw and slide it in. Go, cheese, go, go. We're gonna make an attempt. Hiya, 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 hiya. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! The leprechauns are singing. Look at that, I got it all. That doesn't mean it's not gonna fall all over hell later. So I'm gonna tell you a story about my Irish father. My Irish father was a gem, a man's man. He was in World War II. He was on a naval vessel, and he was a dude that helped start the rotors for the military aircraft that were landing on the vessel. He was stationed in Hawaii on this vessel when he had time. And, you know, when I think of what men should be, in my head, my father's, of course, always comes to mind. We lost him while I was 17 years old from a heart attack. But I'm going to tell you a story about when I was little and why I swear. When I was little, I was with my friend called Wendy, and we were over at her house, and there was another Irish family that lived on that street, a bunch of gingers. And the dad was aggressive because back then when you had, 12 kids, you had to spank them. And of course, back then there was no such thing as like not hitting your kids too hard. And I remember I saw one of the kids get in trouble in the driveway, and I was upstairs playing with my girlfriend Wendy, and I saw this man spank his daughter overly aggressively, and I thought that was child abuse. And this gentleman was balding, and I think I was like 8 years old. And Wendy and I decide we're gonna heckle him because we don't think he can see us. So we think we're safe in the neighbor's house, that he's not gonna catch us or be angry, because he'll never know where these people are talking to him, and he won't recognize the voice of an 8-year-old girl. So we're up in the windows, out the window screen going, fucking baldy, child abuser, saying all sorts of horrific things, giggling in between, and he's just getting infuriated. And he goes and knocks on Wendy's door, and her parents aren't home, which is why we think we can get away with it. And I don't want to get in trouble, so I run home, and I'm like, wow, I better get out of here before he finds out like I'm Wendy's accomplice. So I go home, and I hear the one singular phone, rotary phone, ring in my house, and I hear my mother go, hello, good afternoon, how are you? In her pleasant religious voice. And this family's mom calls up my mom and says how bad I was and all the dirty words that I said to the father when he spanked his own daughter. And, I was always trying to stick up for the little guy. And she asked me point blank, did you say that? And I bold-faced lie, and I go, I most certainly did not. And she goes, well, wait till your father gets home. You're just going to get a licking. And I think, oh no, like my dad's going to whip me sound with a belt for this one. And he didn't use the belt on me, but I thought I was going to really get a good thrashing. So I convinced my little sister that what I'm going to do is lay between the mattresses of the bed sideways and try to breathe and be quiet. And she needs to remake the bed so it looks like I've run away from home. But really, I'm in between the two mattresses of a queen bed in my sister's room. And this is where I'm just going to live out my life until my father has to go to his second job, because he's always working. And I figure like all they have to do is breathe softly for about 2 hours till he has to go to work, and I'm safe, and he'll forget about the thrashing by tomorrow because he'll be too tired to hit me. So that's my plan, and because I'm 8 years old, and those are the kind of plans that 8-year-olds have. And so I hear my father come in the door, and my mother starts saying, that's your daughter. The reason she's like that is because of you, and you need to get her adjusted, and she needs a good spanking, and I want you to give her a what for. And she was saying the F word to our neighbor, and they're good neighbors, and you don't want us to think that we're raising poor children, so go discipline your daughter. and I'm trying to keep my breath as calm as I can, and I'm laying sideways on the mattress like Jesus on the cross, and I'm saying my Hail Marys because I do not want a good beating. And so I hear my father's footsteps. He's a large man, and you can hear he used to have these like floor-shine leather shoes, police officer shoes, and you hear him come up the wood steps, clump, 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 and I'm like counting. I know like step 11, I'm doomed. And he starts saying, Bridget, where are you? And I'm like, not saying a word. My sister has left because she doesn't want to be asked where I'm at, and she doesn't want to get a spanking, so she's absconded to the other parts of the neighborhood. And my mother's saying, she's in the house. I know she's in the house. And they both come up and look for me, and they can't find me. And I'm like, awesome. I've got this covered. I just have to lay still for 2 hours, and I'm safe. And all of a sudden, I hear, Bridget, are you there, Bridget? And the next thing I know, I see this giant, like, bricklayer hands, which are my father's hands, around my wrist. And he's pulling me out of the mattress slowly till my body's like dragging out, and I'm standing beside him, and I'm terrified. I'm like literally ready to pee my pants. And he goes, what did you say? And I go, nothing. And he's like, Bridget, what did you say to our neighbor? And I go, nothing. He goes, you know that's not true. He goes, come on, tell me what you did. And I said, well, he was spanking his daughter, and he was hitting her too hard. And he's like, and that's his prerogative. And I said, but it just wasn't right. He's so mean to them. And he's like, it's still his prerogative, none of your business. And he's like, tell me what you said. And I go, I said, fucking baldy. And he goes, you said what? And I go, fucking baldy. And my dad looks at me and he goes, so where did you hear that word? And I go, I don't know. He goes, I know where you heard that word. You heard it from me. And he goes, I don't ever want to hear you say that again. And he goes, you're going to pretend like I spanked you, and you're going to go down crying to your mother saying that you were disciplined, and you're never going to say that again and say you're sorry. And we're going to pretend like I spanked your bottom. But between you and me, the only reason that you know that word is because you heard it from me. So don't ever say it again, and this will be our secret. So I want you to go down and fake cry and tell your mom that I disciplined you and beg her forgiveness and say you won't do it again. And this is going to be our little secret. Do you understand? And I go, uh-huh. And I think back to myself, and I have some of the foulest language out of any woman I know. And I think back and think, if he would have really spanked me hard, I probably never would swear like I do today. So Dad, I know you're up in heaven. Thanks for that grace period you gave me. Happy St. Patrick's Day to my family for a silly story about disciplining your children when they're super bad. And for my little sister making the bed after I was laying there and risking most certain death. Thanks for trying to hide me, and have a wonderful St. Pat's Day. I'm going to add the pizza that's in the oven right now as soon as it comes out at the end, so you get to see either the potential disaster or the deliciousness. Have a wonderful St. Pat's Day. See ya. Okay, everybody. I just want you to know I switched from the bake to broil because I like that charred look. So the last 3 minutes I've been broiling the top of it. We're going to go in and take it out, and you get to see the first attempt. I don't know how good I'll be with the broil, but ooh, we got it. So there it is. Who knows if it will taste any good? It looks delicious. I'm going to put it on my wood cutting board and get ready for my next one. Here's a close-up. We'll put it in the middle. See it all sizzling? Awesome. I hope it tastes as good as it looks. All right. Have a great day. Bye.